This is our second lesson this week. We talked about decimal numbers greater than 1. And today we're talking about adding and subtracting those decimals. Let's get into it. Regrouping with decimals work exactly the same way all the regrouping you've already done. Earlier, 10 ones as 1 10. 10 tens as 100. 10 hundreds as 1,000. Now, 10 tenths as 1 1, which we already know. 0.1 is 1 tenth. 1.0 is 10 tenths. Use base 10 blocks to regroup so that each place value has a single digit. When we're working with tenths, we're going to use base 10 blocks to regroup so that each place value has a single digit. When we use base 10 blocks, it's going to be a little interesting. We're going to flip what the values are. So to draw 3 ones, we're going to actually draw the big hundreds blocks. And we're going to do that for a reason. But I just want you to follow along for now. 3 ones, okay? A tenth of a 100 block would be a tens block. So we're going to use tens blocks to represent tenths. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 3 ones and 12 tenths. We need to take 10 of these tenths, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and trade them for a 1. We're left over with 4 ones and 2 tenths, or 4 ones and 2 tenths. Let's try another couple. So 7 ones, 18 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We need to take 10 of them, trade them for 1 more 1. We're left over with 8 ones and 8 tenths. Last one, 8 ones, 15 tenths. We're crossing off 10. 5, 10. Give us another 1. We're left with 9 ones and 5 tenths. So whenever we're regrouping, we're looking for those place value in the tens place. So we need to make this trade. Now you might not have to do this using a picture anymore. You can just simply add those 10 tenths, trade them into 1 ones. So we're left with 6 ones and 6 tenths. Here we've got 8 tenths plus, we're adding this one over to here, 12 ones. And then this stays. But we have 12 ones, so we need to do it again, getting rid of this one, adding it to the 3 tens, which gives us 4 tens. We're left with 4 tens, 2 ones, and 8 tenths. Continuing along, 4 tenths plus 11 ones, but we need to regroup again, taking that tens, adding it to the tens for a total of 6 tens, 1 ones, and 4 tenths. Now to use standard algorithm, the most important thing you need to remember is that the decimal places have to be lined up. Just like when we were adding using hundreds or thousands, you always made sure that the ones place value was lined up. Now we're going to make sure that the decimal is lined up. If you're using grid paper, you can line this up this way. 6 plus 1, 7 tenths. 3 plus 5, 8 tenths. We need to make sure the decimal's lined up. We put the 1 in the ones, the 7 tenths, and then we can add. Okay, Using some grid paper, we can write these out. So 3.4, 1.5, adding 4 plus 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 plus 1, that's just 4, 4.6, 2.1, 6 plus 1 is 7, 4, 5, 6. If you need a little practice, you can try the next two. Now we're starting to move up away from grid paper, but if you look, that decimal place is always lined up. 5 plus 4, 9. Decimal stays the same. 3 plus 1, 4. 2 plus 0, 2. 7 plus 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6, keeping that decimal in the same place. 8 plus 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5, 6, 7, 8, keeping that decimal place. 9 plus 1 is 10. 2. So you already know how to do this. The only difference is remembering that that decimal place needs to be lined up and it continues to your answer. Try the next two. How can we line up the decimal points when 32 has no decimal point? Every number has a decimal point, it's just we don't write it. After 32, we could write 32.0. There is no tenths. This number is the same as this number. We just don't write it because it doesn't have any. But when you're lining up, you can add that decimal point, and then we know 4 and 7/10 will be lined up with that decimal. When we're adding 0, nothing changes. We can find our sum. This is just some practice lining those numbers up. I'm always going to start with my bigger number on top. 4. What is this? This is ones. So I'm going to put it in my ones place value. I'm adding the decimal point just to make sure I've done everything correct. Again, I like having my bigger number on top, although it really doesn't matter. 16 plus 2 and 3/10. Well, the 2 goes in the ones place value. Then we have our decimal. I'm writing the 0.0 just to make sure I've lined everything up nicely. Now, taking these decimals, we can apply them to word problems. Josh placed a table that is 1.2 meters long along a wall that's 3 meters long. If his bed is 2.1 meters long, will it fit along the same wall? So there's already a table there, and he's adding his bed. So we need to take the table, which is 1.2, and add it to his bed, which is 2.1. And will these fit along a wall that's 3 meters long? No, this is longer than the wall. Stephen solves a problem in 36 seconds and another in 17.9 seconds. How long does it take Stephen altogether to solve these problems? Altogether just means in total, which is our sum. So we need to find the sum of these two numbers. 36 plus 17 and 9/10. 36.0, adding that in, and you can find the sum. We've made it to subtraction, but I'm going to hold off on subtraction until next week. If you finished adding, that's all you have to do this week. We do have some bonus math if you want to try that out, but we're going to hold off on subtraction till next week because it's a lot. Now's the time to go ahead and complete the first couple pages of your practice book, and next week we're going to take a look at subtraction.